I mean, as you look at, this is Memorial Day weekend, or we're just coming off of a Memorial Day weekend, and we've seen a lot of media footage of, amusement parks in Missouri and beaches in Florida. I mean, people are really coming out. And I believe I'm with you when you say that the people who are full on against a lockdown is a tiny, tiny minority, the kind of people who are kind of taking to the streets to protest health policies that's a tiny, tiny fraction. But there is a significantly larger group of Americans who just really, for however they would articulate their reasons, are really eager to get out in the world, and they aren't particularly vigilant about how they're doing it. I guess one of the places that I'm led to as I observe all this in my own thinking is, whether it's in the fall or whether it's soon upon us, it does seem like another spike in our number of cases is going to be coming down the pike. Whether you want to call it a second wave or a second spike or whatever it is, I don't think this pandemic is just gonna go out with a whimper. And I guess my question for you is, if we have to endure another really significant, dramatic round with this disease, is it your sense that our response the second time around would be any different than what we've seen the first time around? Are we capable of being chastened by, this recent history and going a different way with it? Or will we just see more of same when it comes to the kind of polarizations over policy?
Well, I think that I'm not very hopeful that we're going to see an effective response. I mean, let's just be clear. The response of the federal government, notwithstanding the speed with which a first relief package was put together, the response of the federal government has been catastrophic, right? And the U.S. is not the only country that experienced this kind of death, but it's only a small handful that have gone through something so wrenching. And every institution that we had that was set up to deal with crises like this has been weakened or undermined over the long term and more recently. And President Trump has been a singularly ineffective, divisive, and frankly frightening figure during this crisis. So I can say all that. And as a result, I think it's, as you say, it's very likely we're going to see more deaths. Tragically, this 100,000 mark is only it's a way station in the unfolding of this national disaster. And where we'll end up, I think, is much, much harder to predict, and what the trajectory will be is much, much harder to predict. But we don't have to talk about second waves, because many parts of the country have yet to experience their first wave, and they will. So I'm very worried about that. And I think there are two effects of that. I don't think they're going to call out a better response from our president or Senator Mitch McConnell. I think they have basically decided that shifting to a stance that we need to reopen the economy and attacking opponents and maybe playing up the possibilities of treatment and virus and a vaccine are basically what he needs to do, or what he wants to do, or he feels he is in a position to do. So I think there are two effects of that. One is that I think the Republicans, if things go really badly, the Republicans are going to face an even bigger backlash in the fall. But on the other hand, it also increases the confusion and turbulence and disorder that could well stand in the way of a free and fair democratic election. So I want to end on a happy note, but I think that we should all hope that we're fortunate enough that we don't have tens of thousands more Americans dying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a horrible, horrible situation. But if that comes to pass, I think it simultaneously increases the chance that we'll get new leadership, and the chance that there will be, serious barriers to a well-functioning democracy in the fall.